Satu, dua, tiga. Boleh. Boleh mula? Shall we start? Okay.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all the speaker and all the participants. So today for the technical program just now, inshallah we will start our session today with the side of Viva. And for the non-Muslim, please meditate.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all participants to GSA UTHM online training session today. Thank you for joining us. Okay, before we start our session, I would like to introduce a little bit about our speaker. Our speaker today is Assistant Professor Dr. Mahadi. He is a lecturer from Faculty of Electrical and Electronics in UTHM. He completed his study in Medical Engineering from University of Bradford, United Kingdom. Okay. The topic of our discussion today is aggressive as our poster by the final factor. I'm pretty sure that many of us, including me, are nervous when thinking about the Bible session. How to deal with the Bible session calmly, the technique of answering questions for beginners, and how to defend our research. But really, our speaker will share with us the tips for facing the Bible session in improvement. Okay, before I start, I would like to remind all of you. First, please turn off your mind during the session. Second, the Q&A session is at the end of the session. There are two methods for Q&A session. First, participants can ask directly to the speaker. You can turn on your mic and ask the speaker. Second, just write the question on the chat box and I will read the question to the speaker. Okay, without wasting time, let us start our session. Okay, speaker, start the session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. So alhamdulillah, we met again, our second session. From the previous session, I even forgot to say thank you very much to the committee, GSA committee, graduate school, for their what we call very tremendous effort on arranging this session, because nowadays everyone is busy and we have limited resources, but they managed to organize such an event. Despite so many comments on the technical issues, because sometimes there is internet problems and so on. But today we managed to do it a little bit earlier, even plus minus 5-10 minutes. So I tried to make the poster a little bit interesting. So discuss with the colleague as well and find out this is the title, the final battle. So are you going for the battle actually? So what's that in the poster? The student is like screaming. The student versus the examiner. So just we put the picture of tiger just to show that how horror can an examiner be, but that doesn't actually shows.
I'm afraid being criticized with examiner.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully you get a very nice and friendly examiner. So we pray from now. And if you look at the first slides, so I have few photos there. These are all my students. And top of that, Dr. Nazib, uh, Dr. Muhammad from Libya, Dr. Buhari from Nigeria, Dr. Sadiq from Nigeria, Dr. Nizam from Maldives. This one is Adila, she's doing PhD at the moment, finishing up. Azra, master student, is Osama. He's also waiting for his Viva now. This one is Mr. Malik from BMI, but now he's Dr. Malik already. Mr. Safizan, he's doing his PhD now. Ijaz, Dr. Ijaz and Dr. Hadi. Farha, she did masters. Swasni also, she did masters. These are all my students who graduated. So I had a special team last time. So with this many number of students, not so much, I managed to learn the behavior of the student. So same like when you are married, you have 5, 6 kids. Even if you are not married, you have brothers and sisters. How many of you in home? 5, 6, 7. All 6, 7 will not have the same personality. Did you notice that? Yeah, you will have different behavior, different personality, different traits. And similarly, when we have the student, the supervisor also learn. This student is different. Student A different from student B different from student C. So that's what we learn. This is something knowledge that we acquire through the supervision and so on. So today I plan to share with you some of the important points that we as a PhD or master research student who are going for Viva, what we should prepare, what we should do and what we shouldn't do during the Viva or before the Viva. So I was sitting down and thinking about what to write and to put in my slides. So I did manage to separate. One part is on the preparation, how you should prepare, and then another part is how you should take action during the Viva, and then lastly, some psychological tactics or action that you should do as a student to tackle the Viva session. Okay, is that clear? Okay. This is my intro, same like before, so we'll skip that. If according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, Viva voce is medieval Latin. Okay, it translates literally as with the living voice. That means there should be a person and they're giving some sort of answers directly. So it doesn't have to be live. It can be through the phone call or also nowadays through online. So you can have online, you can have a live session, and also some of my colleagues had through phone calls. So as long as you are there, in a simple form, we call it oral examination. It's an oral examination. Okay, that's enough. What is the challenges of the main challenges of Viva? You have done the work for 3 to 4 years or 2 years or 3 years, right? Depends on masters or PhD. And then you have to explain your work if in UTHM, how long they give you? 20 to 30 minutes, plus minus 10 minutes. So 30 minutes to explain what you have done in 3 to 4 years. So that's really hard, I think. right? For you to summarize everything. And some students, they cannot control themselves. They will go up to 1 hour. And then the panel, they will stop. Please stop now. They'll go again, some more slides. I have some more. How many? 15 more slides. And you already 1 hour now, right? So the normal process in UTHM, they will give you an open session before. I mean, before this COVID-19. So we have an open public, right? So they will send an email, everyone can attend, they will come and they will watch how you present, what is your work. And some, they will ask questions, but majority, they don't ask questions, right? And the panel, they will reserve the question, not in the open session. They will go for the next, once finished, they will go to the closed session. In the closed session, it's between you, chairperson, assistant chairperson, external examiner, internal examiner, and supervisor. So these four, 5 people will be in the room with you. So in UTHM, we still practice one external examiner. In some universities, they will have 2 external examiners. So you'll have to answer to 2 external examiners, right? And then in some cases, in some other institution, university that I've went for the Viva as an external, you'll have the dean there, the dean of the faculty, the deputy dean, the dean of the graduate school. They will be there as well. So it will be total like 7 to 8 people with you presenting your work. So UTHM is not doesn't follow that one. So we have very minimum. Excuse me. Yeah, so I put there a slide how you will feel a day before the Viva. So that's how you will sleep, I think. Tomorrow, I defend, right? What if I'm not ready? What if I can't do it? What if I so many questions? What if will come? And you will notice it's already 5 o'clock in the morning. So that's normal. If you experience this is normal, right? Most people that I've asked, they cannot fall asleep. Even I was restless, I was going this side and that side, and then I couldn't sleep until tomorrow the session starts. Okay? That's why I say, but still, you need to take a good rest for the event. You need to take a good rest. Don't pressure yourself, stress yourself until, you don't sleep. You have to sleep. Must be ready mentally and physically. So a good rest will prepare you mentally and physically. Take a nice food on the day. If in the morning you have a good breakfast, decent breakfast, right? Don't go with the empty stomach. Sometimes when you go with empty stomach, you will think, okay, well, once I gone through the Viva, I will eat something. Suddenly you will faint in the room because you didn't eat anything, right? At least eat some little bit sandwich or something, biscuit, drink tea or coffee. Don't go empty stomach. You need energy to be in the room, right? So eat some. Avoid stress, and I put there, try more prayer. That means you meditate, and you pray, recite Quran, pray Salat, and nafil, so many, right? What is the purpose of Viva? Right? It's a useful session to verify and validate that the student has got enough knowledge in the subject area. So mainly the examiner will come, they will ask you a few questions just to find out how was your work, how did you perform during the studies, how did you manage to do the experiment, how you managed to do the analysis, how you managed to collect the data, right? So they have read your thesis, now they want to see who's this person. If they say, okay, this is Sabri's thesis, now they want to see who's Sabri. So, oh, this guy is Sabri, right? So they want to see who's this person. And then second part is augmentation. Augmentation of thesis level by receiving professional comments from the expert in the area of research. So the examiner who comes, he or she will be the expert in the field. So they will come to give you some comments. So your thesis is already up to 85 to 90%. So potentially with their comments, you will improve to 100%. So the quality of thesis is going to go even further up. So it doesn't matter if they give you so many comments, right? So if you do the changes, you will be, your thesis will be at a very good level. People will read your thesis, they will cite your thesis. That is the purpose actually. And they will ask you a few questions just to verify, does this guy know what he's talking about in the thesis? We tend to write so many things, right? But do we remember all? Why we don't remember all? Why? Because it's too many. You tend to write 200 to 300 pages of thesis. From one volume, it becomes 2 volumes. Right? I've seen a student submitting that much, thick thesis. Once like me, if I'm the external, I receive the thesis. When I open, what is that? Is it a handbook or thesis? So we're gonna be, the examiner is gonna be very much scared to read the thesis as well. So really, when I'm going to finish reading this thesis. So it is augmentation process. So don't worry about that. So they will help you actually to improve our work, right? That's what happened to me. But having said that, there are certain skills required in Viva. One is way to present your work. You must be absolutely sure how you're going to present your work. Are you good in presentation? So, are you good or are you... Yeah, so. Yeah, okay, so. Sir, I'm sorry, I'm so. Yeah. So, if you know you are so, you have to work out something to present your work, right? So, you have to find a way how you could eliminate, the tremors. Some people, when come to the mic and presenting, they will have some tremors, getaran, tremors. So they'll start to feel, that's it. And then if they don't control this, what happen? They will shift to the mood to become panic. Once they become panic, what happen? They will become lost in everywhere. They will go to every direction. They will forget UTHM, PGS, thesis. They will go to Colombo here and there. Right? Examiner asks one question, they will say something else. Or examiner asks question. I've seen a student, when we ask question, they cannot answer anything. They just keep quiet. So that shows that the student is already in a very much stress mode. Panic, block, mental block. Okay, so the examiner has to do something there. Examiner, the chairperson, has to help the student how to bring back the voice of the student. This happened. Okay, this happened. And you need to have good listening skill. One of the problems that the student has is that you try to answer before you even listen to the question. If you have this kind of attitude, make sure you learn how to eliminate them. Let the panels finish the question. Understand the question. First you listen, and then you understand the question, and then you answer. Right? Don't go. Right? The examiner just, yes, I know already this. You can keep quiet now. Alright? The examiner is going to say, I didn't finish my question yet. So he's answering, alright? Uh, then I said that preparation is a key. Preparation is a key. How much you should prepare for your Viva? We will talk about this later. I have it in the slide. Preparation. If you don't prepare, don't go for Viva. That's it. You can go, you're gonna go in there and get slaughtered and come back. They're gonna kill you with this. Right? So for most of the question, you're gonna just look at the face of examiner and come back. Right? So preparation is the key. Composure and confidence. You are confident about your work. You must be confident 100% about your work. No doubt. There shouldn't be even a single doubt in your heart when you go for the Viva. That's how you should prepare. Boleh? Can you prepare like that? I'll share to you how you prepare like that. So that you go into the room, you are 100% confident about your work. Don't question yourself. Your friend asks you, so how's your preparation? I don't know lah. So lah. I think I can, but sometimes I think I cannot. But today I think I can. Yesterday I cannot. What is this? You can or you cannot? Yeah. Yes. That shows that you don't have faith in yourself. You don't have faith in yourself. Right? So you begin to question your ability, your own ability. Right? Don't try to be too humble at that time. Okay? Apa orang kata? Tawaduk. Boleh share, boleh. Kan? You have to be a good communicator. Learn how to answer the question, how we answer the examiner's question, how much we should answer the question, how long we should answer, how short we should answer, according to the situation. Right? Stay focused. So you have to be focused all the time. Okay? If you have mobile phone, please switch it off. Don't bring it with you. So they're asking question, you're checking your mobile. So this can be a bit disturbing. Right? Or they're asking you, you're looking at the ceiling and sometimes the floor. You're not focused. So you have to, be with them. Stay focused from the beginning until they say, okay, the session is finished. So you have to stay focused. Be interested and stay cool. So you have to be so proud about your work. So this is my 3 years of work. I'm going to present like nothing else once in my lifetime. I'm not going to go and do another PhD. Right? So I'm really interested. So I want to tell them what I have done. This is time for me to share my work. Yeah, you have to go with that enthusiasm in the room. And stay cool and calm all the way. Right? Do not raise your voice and, do not thump the table, tumbuk meja, marah kan. Okay. Marah ada. Okay. Let's go to how do you prepare yourself. So this is the points. I put there golden rule. There is 2 rules. So this is how I say you want to be confident about your work. Rule number 1, page by page. That means once you have submitted your thesis to CGS, waiting for Viva, date to be fixed, you have to sit down, you don't have to do anything else. Sit down and read your thesis, page by page, from page 1 until page the end, including the reference. Read again and again. So, how many times? How many times you should read? Please. Again and again. Very good. Yeah. How many times? until your Viva. Yes, you shouldn't stop. I don't think so. You can memorize your page, right? Can you memorize? Yeah, it's quite difficult to memorize, right? But we want to get the flow and the idea of our own thesis, what we have written. So you have to read so many times until you are satisfied. Even when you close, you say, okay, page 30 is chapter 2. It's alright. Boleh ingat kan? So you can remember, right? And you digest the whole thesis. Point number 2, golden rule, make sure you know and understand every single words and sentences in your thesis. Not just read. Dr. Mahadi said not just to read. Or I heard Dr. Mahadi say read 2-3 times and then okay, I'm confident now. You have to read and understand each single word that you put in your thesis. Sometimes we use scientific words, scientific terms in engineering or in any social sciences. So you have to write some notes. Sometimes we can't remember all. So you know when you read, there are few words and few sentences that confuses us as well. Our own writing, it confuses as well. So what we should do? Take the thesis and write down the comments there. Why you don't write on your thesis? I see every student bring fresh thesis into the Viva room. So it's very fresh. I just printed yesterday. Why you do that? Why you do that? Who asked you to bring fresh thesis? Does anybody check there? So you cannot bring any notes, huh? It's an open exam, right? It is not like your final degree exam, closed book exam. You can bring your thesis, so you should be able to write there. Circle it. If that word is difficult to understand, circle it and do the notes there. You don't know, maybe the examiner will pick up on the same points there where you are confused. So when you are confused, they are also confused. So they're going to ask you the same question. You might as well be ready. Yeah, that's how. So no sentence, no words should be left in the thesis when you read without understanding them. If you do these two, then you are really ready for your Viva. And you will be confident about your work. That's it. You shouldn't have any doubts in your heart. Is this PhD? Yeah? So many people ask, many research students ask, Doctor, how I want to know my research is up to PhD level? It is not your task to identify whether the PhD is up to PhD level or master level. It is your supervisor's task. So leave it to your supervisor. Right? You just do your work, submit your work, and go as is a PhD work. That's it. Do you get my point? Many people have this doubt and they start questioning themselves. So when you question yourself, you start to, think differently. Or I think I'm in the wrong place now. I shouldn't do masters or PhD. This and that. Many things are going to come out. Right? So leave it to your supervisors. You just go with the confidence after preparing with these 2 points that I mentioned now. And then prepare a good and clear slide, highlighting your main contribution. Forget about literature review. Many people, they will put 10 slides of literature review. You don't need to show literature review anymore because the examiner, they already read from your thesis. It is the time for you to show so much about your results, about the discussion, about your findings, about your contribution. Many students, they will make mistake. They will put so many of theories, they will forget to highlight their contribution. That's when the problem starts. The Viva question is going to go, even deeper. Right? Sometimes, trust me, sometimes the examiner, when they read the thesis, they will not get the 100% picture about the work. In many cases. But they will understand more when you present to them. So you present your work, or they will now know, okay, there are so many things. There are so many things that we know now. So this guy has done a very good job. So they know. From your presentation, they will be convinced about your Viva. So if you present very, a crap presentation, what we call, with the stammering and so many R's in presentation and so many doubts and unclear information, then they're going to start more question, right? Practice or test run your presentation few times to get the flow of presentation. So how many times you should practice? Can you tell me? How many times? Sonia?
Before Viva, 1 week.
No, that's the duration. I'm asking you how many times you should prepare. As much as possible, but how many times? Oh, okay. So 3 times, 4 times, but you should practice until you can present without reading from the slide. So, yeah. So those who have done the PSM with me, they know. I trained them, so there are some of them here. So how they present their work, even degree level, they don't look at the slide. They present like, very confidently. So why? Because they practice. So we have to do that, same. You don't have to depend on the slide. Suddenly the slide goes wrong on the day. So what happens? I'm asking you.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
We did a mistake in the thesis and we're not showing in the presentation. So
Yeah.
we also need to cover that thing.
Yes. Yeah.
We need to write it down. It was happening.
Yeah, that can be helpful as well. So you add now. When you add now, they say this one is not available in your thesis. The examiner will know. In many cases, they have seen that and they say, okay, include that in your thesis. Yeah. Because it's normal. When you start to read your thesis again, sit down and read. Now you will see so many mistakes. So many mistakes, so many things, and you will understand even better about your work. Trust me. If now, the first year, second year, third year, you still didn't understand 100% or you are not so much confident, it's fine. After you have submitted your thesis, you sit down and you read the thesis. Inshallah, I can promise that you will now understand much better. You'll have better understanding. So don't worry, you still have time. You have to prepare for the Viva. Okay? Practice, test, run. Like I said, until you are confident you can present, even if the slide is not there. So you have the flow. Do not read from the slide. Discuss with your supervisor about a possible question. Okay, sit down, go through with your supervisors. Okay, sir, can you help me? What's the potential question? Your supervisor will be able to advise you. He has gone through the process, so he will know this type of question they will ask you. Right? If your supervisor do that, that means he's a really good supervisor. Okay? Number 7, never underestimate your panel. Suddenly one day, Thursday, you wake up in the morning, okay, the week before Viva, I think my panel, he know only 50% in my field. He's not the expert. You get the thought, that, what is my examiner? I check his background, it's not in real estate. I think it's something else. So he's not the expert. Maybe he knows 20% only about my work. You underestimate your panel. So please don't do that. Okay? Never underestimate your panel. Highlight and write notes for any critical issue noticed in the thesis. This is what I mentioned earlier. So the points. Write down the notes. Make sure you know your supervisor will attend or not your Viva. Okay? So how many of you know that your supervisor will attend your Viva? Okay, that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? I didn't know that my supervisor will not attend my Viva until the day I discovered, and then I asked my supervisor. So I rang him in the morning. Are you coming for the Viva? I asked him. Then he said, do you want me to be in the room? He said. Yeah. I said, yes, of course, I want you to be in the room with me. Please join the session. Then he came. So you see, I didn't know that we as a student, we should invite them. That's the British culture, or in UK, because I studied there. I'm not sure about Malaysian culture. So Malaysian, do you have to invite them, or what you should do? Or they will come for your Viva? Some, they don't come. So I don't know. You have to find out about your supervisor. Okay? But there is a benefit when the supervisor is in the room. You know that?
No, only in the last part when the result will announce.
Not really. Not really. So it is really useful when the supervisor is there from the beginning. From the beginning. The last part, of course, yes, but it's towards the end. But in the beginning, the supervisor is there. It is a kind of support. Yeah. So we cannot discuss that. It's going to take too long, this session, right? Okay. Read your thesis and update your info on the latest reference citations before the Viva. So that means after you submitted, still do literature review, find out any new papers has been published. Just pick up few, 4 or 5 papers, stand by ready, because you never know, the examiner picks up that paper before the Viva. So they'll come and ask, did you find out about John 2020 December? He published a work in this. I'm not sure, bro. After I submit, I go holiday to Tioman either 3 months, and then I just came back. Okay, you're gonna be in trouble. You can have a mock Viva. You can have a mock Viva with your supervisor. That means you request for your supervisor to do a test run, mock Viva. So you present to your supervisor. See what your supervisor gives comment. Okay, you have to improve this part, and that he will know. He or she will know. They will advise you. Don't underestimate the amount of time the examiner will have spent reading and thinking about your thesis. How fast can they read your thesis? So academic people, once we are used to examining students, we have a ways of reading the thesis. There's a fast reading, there is a quick reading, and also detailed, comprehensive reading. So you get that as you go along. But I put there a question: how fast can you read? I asked this question to one professor in the UK. So, Prof, normally how long do you take to read the thesis? How much time do you spend? What do you guess? 1 month. Okay, he said to me, right? He said to me, if I take the train from London to Manchester, so in the train I will start to read the thesis. So by the time I reach, I will conduct the exam. So because they are so used, so that's when they read the thesis. Because maybe they are so busy, that's the best they can do, and they'll do their best actually. Okay? Know your examiner. What is their research interest? But don't assume the examiner didn't read your thesis, please. This is very bad. Do not assume that the examiner, he didn't read your thesis. But actually, you will know if he have read your thesis or not. The way he asks question, you know that something is missing. He missed that part. So that means maybe he missed that chapter or something. So you can highlight back that one nicely, obviously, right? Don't highlight. I think you didn't read this chapter. Did you? Okay, I've put it there, but you didn't read this chapter. That's not the way to answer. Know your examiner. What is their research interest? Okay, so how you know your examiner? How do you get to know them? Some you know from when you attend conference, you presented, you have seen them, right? Some you will get to know once the name is nominated. Some once it's already been appointed, then you confirm that this is the examiner, right? Once confirmed, you go and find their CVs and find out what is their background. Check their publication, their research work, what they're doing. And there are so many other ways to find out what is their interest. So if you look at their research, you know whether they are doing the same research as you doing or what they do. So you will know, you will be able to know what is their focus of research. And that's how you can tackle them during the Viva. So you read some of their work, which is related to your work, which is close to your work. You cannot read all of their papers, right? Just select few papers which is really, really close to your work, right? And this happens to me. I'll share later on. They will also want to know how much knowledge you have apart from yours. That means you're not talking about your thesis only. You can also relate to other people's work. So when you mention, for example, right, if they ask you, so what is happening on this robotic technology in the artificial hand grip design, or so many, because he asked that question and you know he did research on that topic, and you also remember that topic. So what you do? Yes, I know, sir. Actually, I've read one paper which is authored by yourself in the year 2015. We have published a work regarding this, and the system uses a wireless system. It can communicate, to monitor the rehabilitation process. Blah 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 blah. Do you think what he will feel? At the end, you should say. At the end, it is a very good paper, sir. It is a very good paper, even though you know it's not a good paper. No, I'm just joking. But you should say that. Have you watched American Got Talent? Sometimes we watch, right? In the American Got Talent, who's there? Who's the most difficult judge to be convinced? Simon Cowell. So he's the one who will not smile. He'll just sit there. Very difficult to convince him, right? But I've noticed in many occasions, those people who mention about his name before presenting, he will be okay with them. Did you notice? Go back and see in any of the audition. So they will say, okay, I'm here. Why are you here? I'm here because of you. I want to meet Simon Cowell. Then suddenly he will drop everything. So he will become changed person. So that's how we call it. You attract the panel. So you say, it's a very good paper, sir. Obviously, he's going to say, this guy is, how can I ask tough question to him? Right? 15, prepare for the worst question. What is the worst question in a Viva? What's the worst question? That's the easy one. Your work, problem statement. Yeah, novelty. It's all yours. It's easy. I find it the most difficult is reference. You have 200 references. Suddenly he picks up one reference. Can you explain? So this happened to me. The internal examiner, he asked that question. Can you explain? Rajini checked in 2001, he published something about this. What is this reference doing in your thesis? What is related to your work? So how do you answer that question? That is, you prepare for the worst question. I'm just giving an example. Other people will have different example. That's my example. So how do you respond? Terkejut kita kalau kita kena soalan macam tu. So how do you recap that paper? Smile, Smile at the examiner. And look at the examiner face. You are so handsome, sir, today. See what? I want to know the answer. I know I'm handsome. So how do we respond? Sometimes you can be panicked, in that situation. So the way to do is listen to his question first, digest, okay, which paper he mentioned, flip the thesis. You have the thesis in front of you, flip the thesis, go back, see which numbers is the reference, read the title. When you read the title of the paper, you will be able to recap what is the paper is about. So you just explain to him, this guy, he did research on what, and I found it suitable for my method, so I quoted this. This is how I answered. Then he said, that's okay. That's the worst question I received in my Viva. And the Viva end, finish. Okay? Prepare for the worst. By the time you finish your PhD, you'll know your thesis inside out. Don't worry, after you read your thesis, you will have better understanding. That's what I said earlier. So it's not the time to worry now. Finish your work, submit your thesis, sit down and read. After that, once you have read, this is the process we call final installation. Final installation. So you install now, maximum installation, high speed, right? High speed, no low speed, high speed installation. Then you are ready. Ensure you and your supervisor have a printed copy. That is exactly same which you have submitted to CGS, to the examiner. Don't bring a new copy. Maksud saya apa? What I mean by new copy? You go back, you read something mistake, you change it already. You update, and then you bring the perfect copy. And then when the examiner comments during the Viva, you couldn't find the page number. Page 50. Sorry, sir, I couldn't find page 50. I found page 50, but I cannot find the paragraph. Because the paragraph has been deleted already. So, it's going to mess up the time for the comments, right? And sometimes you might put off the panel. You know, they also human, they have feelings. If you do 1, 2, 3 times mistake, it's okay. But you keep on saying, oh, the page move, section move, numbering move, this move. I've deleted, I've corrected already this. So what is that? So bring the exactly same copy for you and also for your supervisor. Okay? Provide detailed answer in the opening, 15 minutes. This is the opening. Demonstrating knowledge, describing your thinking, working. Then the examiner are likely to relax into the Viva. So do you understand what I say here? For example, this is the beginning, the opening. After the nice introduction and everything, they start to ask first question. First question is where you have to impress the panels. Right? The opening, the first 15 minutes, if you answer well, you're able to convince the panel, then the rest of the hours is going to be easy. Right? For example, they ask you a question. I give you one tips on the knowledge here. They ask you a question on the theory. You know, because it is your thesis, it is your work, you know about your work. And when the panel asks you the question, the panel asks you about one theoretical question in the literature review, chapter 2. And you know exactly about this paper, you know exactly about this method, and you know so much about this method. So what you should do? What you should do? You should blast the answer for at least 10-20 minutes until he says, it's okay, please stop. It's okay, it's okay. Right? Because that shows how much you know about the literature review that you have done. You might be lucky they pick up the most interesting paper that you kept reading for so many times. Right? So that's how you impress them. You explain the maximum. But in the same area, don't go somewhere else, right? In the specific question, explain in detail. 10-15 minutes. So this happened to me. Okay, I'll tell you. The first question, the external examiner, he asked me a question on literature review. So he mentioned about 3 methods and then 4th method. The 3 methods is available in my literature review. The 4th method is not available in my literature review. But I've read about that paper, and that 4th paper is actually regarding his work, his method, the method that he developed. So this can be something like they're testing you, the examiner, they test you. So they mentioned, you mentioned about 4 methods. So they want to know whether you know or not. So I answered them, thank you very much, Prof. The first method is this, second method is this, third method is this. But I'm sorry, the fourth method actually I didn't mention in my thesis, but I know about this method. This method is described in year 1995 by yourself. I've read your paper. You mentioned about the distance of the system tip between the sample is 1 micrometer, blah 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 blah. Then I was, chewing their ear so much. Then they say, okay, let's go to chapter 4. They close chapter 1, 2, 3, close, go to chapter 4. You see? That's only 2 questions. And then another 2 questions, then my Viva finish really. Only 4 questions. Right? Because the external, he said, I'm satisfied with the work. I'm satisfied. So the Viva lasts for 1 hour 40 minutes. 1 hour 40 minutes. I can still remember now. And it's the most horrible time that I was sitting there, scared and nervous all the time as a student. Everybody will feel this actually. Yes. Okay? But internal examiner has more questions to ask. Internal examiner asking so many questions, one by one, So that's how you impress them. Be ready with the ice-breaking session. So the panel maybe give you like, okay, what's your name? Abdul Aziz. So can you give 5 to 10 minutes, explanation about your project? So if they tell you that, so that's the time you want to, get to know them, be friendly with them. So they give you 5-10 minutes, right, to explain about your project, overall of your project. So explain just, in a relaxed form. I did my work as for 2 years, and like robot, you were explaining very stiff, very stiff, face impression very bad, and they get scared as well because you're looking at like them, this is my work, and so that's not ice breaking, you're ruining the ice breaking session. So just give a very common introduction, very relaxed, so that they know overall picture. If you don't prepare, it is a very great mistake. So you should prepare for that 10 minutes, right? I do that when I go for examination. I do that with any candidate. Say, can you explain, in a very short form, what is your work about? So I didn't say any minutes. I just say short form. So you just explain briefly. So that's an open ticket for you to explain. The examiner don't need help to find out about your weaknesses. Okay? Some students, what they do is they become overly humble. Actually, I want to confess here, my data, this part, it is actually, has some problems. The problem is I don't have any data here. And, how can I say, it's a great misfortune for me, this and blah, blah, blah. You start confessing everything. You never know, the examiner might, they might not even notice that weakness in your thesis. So why you go and tell them your weaknesses in the thesis? Why you go and tell them the weaknesses? You just keep quiet and present your work. Present the best thing about your work. Right? If they picks up, then you just explain to them. Defend the work. That's called defend, right? Do not overclaim your work. Sometimes we get a student who say, this is the best project in the world. I'm the only one who is in the entire world. Not even in Malaysia, Yeah. So, and then suddenly you become like a politician. You start to talk so many things because you are overconfident, and then you overclaim, and then you talking so much, and you go talk so many things here and there, everything, right? So it's actually going to lead to something that's not very nice, because you're going to make so many mistakes. uh, all the way along. So that's why I said you have to be careful there. Number 22, life is a problem. This is actually is a joke. I attended one presentation. So the student, he started to put in the slide, life is a problem, just before problem statement. So when I read the background, I know there's going to be a problem today, because life is a problem. So exactly when we ask question to the student, say, what is your problem statement? He cannot explain his problem statement. Then it becomes a problem, right? His problem statement become a problem for him to explain. Then life become a problem. Okay? So I told him, don't use this kind of background, right? And then he repeated his presentation. Guess what? His second presentation, I was the same panel again. And then he had the same slide again. Life is a problem. So I guess he missed our comment, right? We asked him to change actually. Never mind. Things happen. So how long will be your Viva? How long will it be? Normally it's between 2 to 3 hours. 3 hours, right? What's the worst you have heard? Start in the morning, stop for the lunch break, prayer, and then they start again until 6 o'clock. There are people who have gone through this, right? Yeah. And some in other units, not in UTSM, they start in the morning, continue in the afternoon, and they fail the session. Yeah? Fail, gagal. Okay? How you answer? It depends on how you answer, your manner, your patience, and achievement of your work. Okay? What I mean by how you answer, how you respond to them, it depends. If you keep fighting, what happens? Some people, they cannot take comments from other people because they're overconfident, overclaim, and they say, look, this is my best. I've done 3 years work in UTSM. You don't know I didn't take breakfast for 3 years. I was doing my PhD. Now you say it is not a good work. What is this? I cannot accept this. I agree with you, but means disagree. I agree with you, but I disagree. Right? So you keep fighting. That will also cost you how long? How you answer. If you're in agreement with them, okay, yeah, I accept your comments. I will put into my correction list. I accept that one. If you know it is really a correction, then just take it. You don't have to fight. Don't have to defend so much. And your manner, how do you behave with them during the Viva? Right? If you are like a fighter, what happened? It's gonna go along. It's gonna go along. Trust me. You keep fighting with the panels, right? And you have no patience. No patience. Tak sabar. Kena komen sikit marah. So you get angry with the panel. So you are the type of person that you cannot hold your anger. Or if you get angry, you cannot hide them. You've been clenching, your fist in the table, even though you're smiling, right? Or you're just biting your teeth. They can hear you. So these are the things that will cause. So what I say, achievement of your work, if you have published so many results and so many of your work, normally this will reduce the time, because some panels, they appreciate your work. They say he has published 6 to 7 journals. So okay, I think this is enough. All the result is verified, is a good piece of work. There is so many novelty. He don't have to explain the novelty, the contribution. It is a contribution. So between 2 to 3 hours is normal, right? You have to be ready. It is the contribution which makes you work doctoral level. Be sure that you understand exactly what your contribution is. You must know what is your contribution and able to explain. So you have to discuss this with your supervisor, right? You have to discuss this with your supervisors. So if you have any question, write it down now in a piece of paper, because later when you hear, I'm explaining, suddenly you will forget the question, right? So next part is, this is what I said, psychology in Viva. So I'm not a psychological person, but I'm interested in the psychological process with the students, with the education. So I put there the figure, okay? That face you make when someone challenges you in your favorite game. Do you know what that means, right? Yeah. It's like, I don't worry about you. I'm not worried about you. I'm just gonna just go and finish my Viva and come out alive. Yeah. That's how he looks, right? Okay? Psychology in Viva. Okay, who knows the most? Who knows the most? If you know, who knows the most? Siapa? Yeah. Yalah, dalam sudut Viva dia lah. Yeah. Even the supervisor will say, you are the boss. You know about the thesis more than anyone else. So why you worry? Just go in there. That's how you have 100% confidence that I promise you that you will have. Right? But you don't have to tell, I'm the boss in the room. It's going to be silly, right? You say that. Okay? You don't have to tell them. Okay? Do you know who's the boss? I'll show you. Who's the boss? Oh, this is to build your motivation, right? To build your confidence level so that you go into Viva. You know the most. This is your work. You have done it for 3-4 years. You focus in your work. So this is the time now. You can choose what to say and what not to say during Viva. Isn't it? Nobody controls you. They'll ask you a question, so you answer them. Answer in the lengthy or short. So normally, I tell my students that if they ask you straightforward question, just answer straightforward. If they ask you like an open question for you to explain, then you explain to them. Right? But you explain the question to them, you explain by highlighting what is being asked. Don't go everywhere else. That's important. You need to learn that. How you should start to answer a question. How you should start answer. So the examiner asks you a question. How do you start answering? Please help me. I'm asking you. Siapa yang final year nak masuk Viva dah ni? Mari kita test sikit dia. Boleh? How do you answer? So the examiner asks you a question. So how do you start? What do you say before you answer? I've given you the clue already. Betul tak? So you should say, thank you, Prof. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, sir. That's a very good question. Right? I had a student, right? We went for an international conference, and then I saw this student, right, presenting his work, and I know there is few people there who's going to ask him the question. Exactly after he finishes, there's this guy, he stand up. In typical people, you will find 1 or 2% that keep asking question in for every presenter. I don't know why, but in every conference you'll find one person like this, right? So you have to be careful for this person, right? It's good practice. So I tried to see how he handled the situation. So he asked the question, and I know most probably the student will not be able to answer the question. So what happened? Uh, he asked the question once, and then this guy he smiled at him. Uh, Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is a good question. Yeah. Then he kept quiet. So this guy he stand up again. He said, "No, I asked you a question." He repeated the same question again. And he is so much confident with his answer that he's like show it like he had answered already his question. He said, "Yes, sir." Again, thank you very much, sir. It's a good question. But where is the answer? Where is the answer? Then this guy, he stood up again for the third time. "I asked you a question, now I want an answer." He said. So that's how he handled the situation. Right? But similarly in the Viva, you have to respond to the panel by saying that. So, okay, thank you, Prof. Thank you, sir. Thank you, doctor. It's a good question. Then you try to answer. Tell them again. Salam. Please. So you tell them again, okay, thank you, Prof. Thank you, sir. And then appreciate them. So that's how you start to answer the question. Know the strength and weaknesses of your work. You know the strength and weaknesses. Where to highlight. You know where to highlight your work? So where is the strength of my work? So you highlight that one. Don't highlight the weakness. It is important to defend your claims about originality of the thesis, contribution to the knowledge. Sometimes it could be difficult to convince the panel. Sometimes difficult, right? Sometimes difficult. So you have to convince them. Highlight the contribution. Okay? Panels don't understand your language, and you don't understand panel's language. This happens, right? This happens sometimes. I don't know why, but sometimes happen. The student try to explain, panel don't understand. And sometimes the panel asks questions, the student don't understand. So there's something we should do. I mean, maybe we have to practice the way we talk, speak, and so on, the language, right? But if they ask a question, it is not clear to you, so what you should do? Excuse me, Prof. I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. Please, can you repeat? Right? What did you say? What did you say? So we don't ask, in such a way. There is a polite ways. Treat them well. No research is perfect, and showing that you have considered what could have been done differently or even better is not a bad thing. That means there will be some sort of weaknesses in our work here and there, but don't worry, this is still a work, still an achievement of your work, PhD work. So you just go on with your work, present your work, be in charge of the session, but politely, right? Politely you respond to them, so hopefully they will appreciate. Say thanks to the panel for their attendance. So they have attended Viva. You should say, at the beginning, thank you very much for, attending the session, for examining my thesis, because your valuable time. Maybe they are busy, but they managed to come to exam. It is not that anything else, but it is a duty as well. They're trying to help you as well. Actually, they're trying to help you. So say thank you. Humble and proactive. You have to be humble, but at the same time you are proactive. You have to go on, have enthusiasm in explaining and showing your interest in presenting your work. Some people, they just answer very shortly and like going to sleep, Panel ask me, yes, I finished. I'm going, sir. My Viva finished. What's this? I'm thinking you risking your session, right? Show enthusiasm. Show that you are interested. Please don't challenge the examiner. Please don't challenge the examiner. Some people, they do challenge the examiner. How do you know? You're asking me this question. How do you know? Do you do this research? Okay, like I mentioned to you, the slide is gone now. Okay, so no problem. As normal, as normally I told you last time that I always bring backup for my work. Okay, so I have been in a situation that the student actually they challenge the panel actually. Okay, the question is the problem is like
Sorry, we are having some problem. Please wait for
okay, the power supply is not working, I guess. But now mine is gonna be back online. Dia boleh dengar kan? So they're still listening, right? You'll be able to see the slide, the soonest as we can. Right. So I've been in a situation that the panel actually been challenged by the student, right? So what happened is the image or something that he was showing was not very clear. So the panel started to say, look, we cannot really see what is this image. It is, sometimes you put in the slide is okay, clear. But when you show in the display screen, because of the cable, the resolution, the color will change, the things that shows in the screen will look different. So we cannot see. So the panel started to comment on that, and this guy got angry for that. So he's mad. How come you say this and blah blah blah? You didn't do research. How do you know? I did the research 3 years. Blah blah blah. And then that's it. So the internal, external all become what we call upset with the session. So they become upset. Right? Okay. So they become upset, and then the session is ended very badly. Okay, it was a simple mistake. There's nothing to be what we call okay. So that's one situation. Another situation in the Viva, you are explaining very well. Suddenly, what happened is, have you heard about dry mouth symptom? Dry mouth symptom. So your what we call your mouth become dry, and you cannot speak, you cannot talk anymore because it's sticking. It becomes sticky in the mouth. So sometimes people will be, they got panic about this situation. What happened? It can be very tough situation, but it's not a problem. Just stop little while, ask for excuse, drink some water. Ask for excuse and drink some water. Then after that, you will see it's going to be okay back. Okay? Yes, sir. So
I clicked the second one.
okay, while we waiting, so this is exactly I said. You need to have backup, and also for for any presentation, something might goes wrong, at the end. So be ready to receive new knowledge. Okay, be ready to receive new knowledge. That means they will comment and give you some input information, so you need to be ready for critics as well. They will criticize our work. It's okay because we are student, we are learning. They will criticize our work, so we take the criticism positively and do the what we call changes. Then I also mentioned there, keep smiling, keep smiling. When you keep smiling, the session is going to be well balanced. Even though it's tough sometimes, 2 hours. When the first hour is okay, when it enters the second hour, it become uh, very tough, and the third hours, okay, but just stay with them, keep smiling. Apologize if you make any mistake. If you make any mistake, just apologize, right? Or yes, I have explained wrongly, but can I explain again? So it's normal, just tell them. If you need a break, ask the panel, just can you excuse me, sometimes you feel like what we call, you know, you want to vomit or something, because it's too long, right? Then they say, okay, please, I need to go to toilet. Just go out first, okay? Take a break. Buy some time by writing panel's comment, then continue. So when they ask question, so okay, sir, let me write down this first. So you stall them a little bit. Then, once you breathe, you're okay. Then okay. So okay, that's also how you be in charge in the session. Uh, Final tips: be patient. Be patient all the way, not just in the beginning, the first hour. Second hour, you start punching the table, obviously, right? Uh, Extreme situation, provocation happens. So sometimes the examiner, there are so many types of examiner. There are different types of. Like us, we are different, right? Everyone is different, so they also different. So there are some who like to provoke the student. So if they provoke, then they are provoking you. You just try to answer professionally, by respect and so on. Never argue. Answering their question is different. Arguing is different. Defending your work is different. You have to understand, right? Answering and defending your work is okay, but don't go into argument. You defend one time, 2 times, 3 times. If they still don't accept, that's it. Full stop. Okay, sir, please, can you tell me what is your suggestion? How can I improve this part? Move on. Just say, yes, you're right, I'm wrong. Move. If you keep saying, no, I think this is the correct way. My graph is correct. Yours is wrong. That's when the argument is going to start. Right? That's when the argument is going to start. How to disagree? How to say no without saying no? Okay, you find out, right? That's a homework for you. How to say no without saying no. So you want to say no, right? They will ask you sometimes, can you add this part, actually on the, a very long section on this chapter. So what are you going to say? You don't have to add that one. But they are asking you. So you just say, don't say, no, sir, I will not add this. Whoever say, I will not add this. Okay? Don't laugh at this, because there are some, they answer like that. Yeah, I'm telling you. So just say to them, look, I will consider this comment. I will talk to my supervisor, and then I will look at the available time. So if I manage to find this, then they know you are not saying yes. They know you are not saying yes, but that's how you say it. Okay? Uh, so you can use this on your supervisor as well when you communicate with your supervisor. Right? Sometimes your supervisor also want something, so you also, not able to do that. So how you say no to your supervisor? By not saying no. That's how you say it. Do not disrespect shouting at the examiner. They are examiner, right? Please remember, they are your examiner. Don't do what we call some damage in the Viva by shouting at them. Control your voice. Control your voice. Provoking the examiners. Oh, this guy, he's really good in provoking the examiners, right? So there are students who he will provoke the examiners. So don't do that. Misunderstanding, miscommunication, this happens, sometimes misunderstanding, they misunderstood you, and miscommunication happens. So rectify that immediately. So so this is actually, this is not what I meant. I've tried to explain this, but is this, then say at the end, is it okay, sir? Are you satisfied? If no, then try to explain again one more time. Rectify. If unpleasant situation arises, follow through process calmly. Sometimes we don't know, right? Between the external and internal, there will be some miscommunication between them. Then what you gonna do? You're gonna sit there and watch what happened. So just follow through the process calmly. The chairperson will do something there. Okay, you don't have to do anything. The chairperson is there. Hot temper. If you are a hot-tempered person, drink more water. I put there. Drink water, drink more water. Every time you get angry, drink water. Okay, sit down. Okay, keep calm and maintain good eye contact. I say that throughout the session, you must look at the panels. If you start to look at the floor, they know that you are pissed off, you are angry, and so on. So just good manage eye contact. If you are lost, refer your thesis all the time, if required. Just open the thesis in front of you, look at the thesis. That's no problem. And there's many other extreme situation, but we don't have much time. We need to take some question as well from our online participant listeners. So my golden rules for Viva. Before this, I have shared with you golden rules for GOT, right? Golden rules for GOT. Do you still remember? Yeah, this is golden rules for Viva, the final battle. Number one, what is number one? Examiners always right. Say it, please. Yeah, if you can say that means you're okay. Number two, if examiners make mistake, refer rule number one. And then go back again. It's loop, like programming C, right? Looping. Go back. Number three, from now you have to practice. Use more yes, then no, or but. But means what? You say somebody says, okay, I accept your apologies, but what's that? You already accept and then done, but what? Yeah.
We want to explain more.
Yeah. Say again?
If we say like but not to refuse or accept, but we want to explain more.
Yes. You have to look at the situation. Sometimes when you say but, there is like you cancelling back your agreement. First you agree, then you say but. So you have to use the proper sentence there. So I suggest use more yes. Yes, okay. Right? But explanation is different issue. Otherwise you will become like that person there in the figure. You will catch the examiner and you're fighting in the room. No, I'm just making some joke, right? Okay, this is some tips. I share. As a Muslim, when we have problems, we always pray salat. Okay, And during very close to submission, we will have so many more challenges sometimes. So when you have these challenges, pray every day. 2 rakat Salatul Hajat, ask for Allah's help. Allah will help us. And make a lot of dua, prayers. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us. And then also do zikr, morning, evening. If cannot, you do only istighfar and also selawat. Selawat berapa banyak? 1000 kali sehari. Dan nak dekat Viva tu buatlah 1000 kali. Lama-lama kita jadi tenang sikit kan. Banyak dia punya kelebihan. Baca Quran, read Quran every day, and do some fasting as well. Monday, Thursday fasting, and give some sedekah as well to small kids. You don't have to give 10, 100 ringgit sedekah, right? We students, so we don't have much money. Just buy 1 ringgit sweet, right? You see the kids going in the street, just pass them one. That's also sedekah. Even 1 ringgit every day. Then Allah's help is with you. Allah will help. Like I promised in the previous session, this is the dua. That when you become, sometime when you near to submission of thesis, you prepared already, but you become very restless. So you become, in the situation where they call mental block. So this is the dua. If you read this dua one time, everything will be erased, and you become fresh again. That is a promise. This is in this dua. So read this, right? If you are stressed so much, then you read this in the prostration, in the sajda. So you read very short dua. If you read this every day close to Viva, is even better. So you will be omitted from the stress, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can read. Yes, you can read, no problem. Yeah, it's just prayer. You just pray that God help you as well, right? That's why I have the translation as well, so you know. Yeah. So we ask, that our life, our journey, our submission become easy, and our defense become easy. This one is in Malay, so you have to find out, right? This is a prayer that when sometimes we become lazy, or we become very less motivated, so we pray this, and then we will get the motivation back. We will become, enthusiastic back to do our studies, right? All these are very small prayer that we can memorize. It's very easy, and this is if we are in a very critical situation. So you just read this, right? You don't see the way out, so you read this dua. So much, Allah will show you the way out from everywhere, right? Final tips, I say, you need to have faith on you, right? As a student, we need to have faith. Now you have the knowledge, you have done your work. Have faith in yourself and pray as well. Prayer is the major thing. After you have submitted, all your effort, you make prayer. Ask your parents, call your parents in Pakistan. Call them, ask them, tomorrow is my Viva, please, pray for me. If the parents pray for you, everything will become easy. The earth and the sky also will make dua for you if the parents are praying for you. So ask them. Your spouse, if you're married, your husband, your wife, ask them to pray for you. Your kids, ask them to pray for you. Last but not least, your supervisor. Ask her or his blessing. Tomorrow is whatever, go meet him today. Don't fight with him anymore. Please forgive me, and I'm asking for your blessing. Please pray for me so that everything goes well tomorrow. So he will pray for you as well. And I wish you all the best for your Viva. Is that okay? All right. Good luck. Thank you for listening. If you have any question, I'm ready to answer.
Okay, for and then You can turn on your mic and ask the tutor, or you can write down your questions in the chat box. Okay.
Any question? Any question from the online listeners, our colleagues as well, our friends, students? Ada yang bagi dalam bentuk teks tak?
Prof, how much literature review need to be explained to be enough for
How much literature review? That should be explained. Like I told you, when you're presenting your work, it's sufficient if you put there the summary, table of summary of literature review. Maybe 2 to 3 slides, and then present that. You present that 2 to 3 slides and convince the panel in that one. That's enough. Don't put 5-10 slides, okay? 5-10 pages, and you take so many hours. You have only 30 minutes. So you're gonna only take 2 to 3 minutes to explain about literature review. The rest of 20 minutes, 15 minutes is about your results, your work, your achievement, your contribution. Okay? Next question.
what should be the correction?
Major correction. Oh, okay. Right. What is minor correction and major correction? What is the difference? Both are correction. At the end is equal to PhD. So don't worry, major, minor correction, don't worry. Don't worry so much. As long as it's a correction, just do it. Because at the end they will say, you pass your PhD Viva subject to minor correction. You pass your Viva subject to major correction. That's it. Major correction is going to take you a bit longer. Minor correction take you less day. Right? And for major correction, you have to discuss with your supervisors and include all the comments by the panels, and then you do maybe some of the suggestions. That's it. As long as you fulfill, that's it. It's done. So I wouldn't worry so much about major or minor correction. As long as these two is fine. You pass your PhD. That's the most important thing. Okay? They will not write in your certificate, right? Doctor of Philosophy with major correction. I don't think so. They write there. Right? And does that mean major correction mean it's bad things? No, because this guy is going to learn some more. He learned some more. He learned to improve some more. Right? So don't underestimate and don't make any assumption. Next question.
Okay, Prof, what if we do not know who our examiner until the Viva day?
Oh, that's really bad. Why is that? I have a question as well. So I would like to ask you why you don't know until till the day. That's really bad because they will email you. CGS will email you. You know who's they sending this email, and you know who's the examiner, right? But mainly the supervisor, after being appointed by CGS, they will let you know as well. They will let you know who is the examiner. Then you should prepare. Next. Any question from the audience here? Any question? You look like you have some questions. Yeah.
And for the literature, when I'm writing the thesis, like this is sometimes it's okay, normal, or it is right. How many pages for the literature?
Say again, please.
We are writing the thesis for the
Okay.
literature.
Okay.
Should we increase it? Okay, with how many pages? It is okay.
For literature. Oh. Actually, it depends on how much you require fundamental and base knowledge on your work. So there is no limit number of pages. So for that, we cannot go up to 50, 100 pages. Too much, right? So normally is 30 introduction with literature review, maybe 30 to 40 pages, right? Something like that. But it depends on how much you need the citation, the reference, the knowledge for you to know the subject area, right? Okay. Next, any question? Ada? Sorry. So, is there any question here from this side?
Sometimes someone our seniors just suggested us that if you don't know any answer of the examiner question, you just keep quiet, don't say anything.
So,
Is that the correct way or not?
so if you don't know what you're going to say, at least what you say,
Yeah, means
you just say you don't know.
just explain something else.
Yeah. If I were you, if they ask, but you know that you don't know the answer, right? You know that you don't know about what he's asking about. Sometimes you can have this kind of question. Number one is the best you try to answer with the knowledge that you have, because they know, the examiner, they'll know you don't know the answer. Through your answer, they'll know that you don't know, right? And if they are very decent people, they will not push you for the further answer. They will say, okay, yes. Sometimes they say, yes, you didn't answer, but I'm okay with that. So they're going to say that. So for that, uh, that's not the problem. So you try to answer the best. If they don't accept, then you just say it to them. But don't just simply say, I don't know. Okay?
We need to explain.
Yes. Just try to explain some related. Yeah?
Okay. What can we record the Viva discussion for foreign Australia? And second one is, can we proceed to pre-Viva without any publication? Because we tried and published in ISI. If it's not possible, how many papers should I have to proceed to pre-Viva?
Right. There is two questions there. Can you record? I think nowadays if you go for online, CGS will record the Viva. They will record the panels, the online session. I don't know about if you want to bring camera and record yourself. That maybe you have to ask CGS. The second publication, I think nowadays there is a change of rules in CGS UTSM. They've requested a certain number of publication before you go for final Viva. So you have to check with CGS. I cannot say, maybe I'll say something wrong here. So if I say yes, then he gonna go for Viva, right? Or pre-Viva. But I'm sure that there is certain number of publication put there by CGS for PhD and master, so that you can enable yourself for final Viva. So you have to check that with CGS. It's in the procedure.
Your guidelines regarding the estimate length of PowerPoint presentation, regard to number of slides, we should have.
Okay, number of slides and the duration. We know, sorry, we know we've been given 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes maximum, or 20 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, and 10 minutes is question and answer. So how many slides you can prepare? Yeah, you know one slide, how much time you're going to spend in one slide. So if you spend 2-3 minutes, then you know how much. But basically 30 pages, 30 slides is long enough already. So if you want to go further, 35 or even 40, but you have to manage your time very quickly. You don't spend so much time, right? But that's why I said the most important thing in that online, the final presentation, the slides, you must highlight about your work, your own work, your contribution. Don't talk so much about literature review, right? It's time to impress the panel. So do your best. Next question. Yeah.
When you have Viva examiner, sometimes maybe ask me the question. This time I cannot explain more or look at understand it. After, can I return to explain it?
After means when?
Like ask
Oh,
me.
during that
During this
moment.
one, yeah.
Okay.
Because that time, sorry, I cannot understand well, or I can't remember it.
Yeah.
Can I remember it? Can I
Yeah.
answer you for this one?
Yeah, you can say. Actually, I couldn't remember now, but if I remember it later on, I will explain to you. But make sure during the session you answer the rest of the question, and suddenly you remember, you tell them back. So I now I remember. So just tell them back.
And but I have another problem. Sometimes students say the examiner not exactly your area.
Uh-huh.
Maybe sometimes you are working and explain it, but the examiner not exactly in the area or not understand your job. How?
That's what I said to you. I said earlier that normally we will try our best to get the examiner which is expert in our field. We don't find somebody from not in the field. So what the best to do is find somebody in the field. Why we appoint somebody who is not in the field? So he's going to come and he's not going to understand our work. That's what I said earlier. So hopefully this doesn't happen. So your supervisor will be able to advise to you who's the examiner, who's the suitable person for this, for your work. Yeah. Ada lagi? Any online question? Huh.
Can I
Okay.
call directly to the examiner before the Viva session?
For what? You want to call?
I don't know. Maybe.
You call the examiner for what? You want to tell, yes, I'm the one.
Then once we didn't book the accommodation for the
That's actually not allowed. So you cannot contact the examiner before the Viva. So if you invite him and then you invite him for food or KFC, you know he likes KFC, you invite him and then you book accommodation for him. This all, if they know, they're gonna disqualify your Viva process. So you shouldn't do that. It is unethical. It is unethical. When you finish your Viva, then you do it. You know, you finish your Viva, you submitted it, then you do it. Book accommodation for your examiner. You know, you want to give them food, that's fine. Because it's finished already. Before that, it's not allowed. Any more question?
Yes. Is it helpful in Viva to cite the internal and external examiner works in the thesis?
Yes, of course. That's why I said you must cite their work if you know them, right? Get to know what their work and cite few of their papers and publication. That will shows some credits. That's how we engage with them. We engage with them. Next.
What is the common expectation from the examiners about the thickness of a thesis?
Thickness, huh? Thickness doesn't show anything. That's kind of funny, right? So this guy spending so much time, building his thesis from 1 volume to 2 volume to 3 volumes, right? And you're gonna scare the examiner actually. Who's gonna read 3 volumes thesis, right? 1 volume is enough. And just don't pile up the work, so much to make it thicker. Finish. Supervisor asks you, are you finished? Yes, finished, but I think it's not thick enough. I will put another 50 pages. I'll spend 1 more month. So it's not useful.
Okay. What is the advantages and disadvantages of Viva online compared to face-to-face Viva?
There are so many advantages and so many disadvantages for online versus the physical. Both have pro and cons. So if you have online nowadays, just go with it. It's fine. It will be less scarier because the examiner is not in front of you. you are also maybe, I don't know, here they will put you in the CGS room. They will provide you with a computer, with the system. But other universities, they just say, okay, you can online from your home. So maybe you are in home, just blazer on top, niche half pant, right? So you just wearing short pants, just blazer on top. So there's Viva. So nobody knows you are in the relaxed mode or what. So online, sometimes things goes offline. What happened? Then it's going to disturb your flow. It's going to put out the mode of, the momentum of Viva. Physical is different. Everybody is in front of you. There's an advantage. They can hear you clearly. Online, sometimes your voice is not clear. The examiner tells you don't understand. You understand something else. So there are so many things. Okay? But both are okay. Good. Just go for it. Don't escape and stay home during the Viva. Any more question?
Sometimes a student may pass the mock Viva and get revival after the book Viva.
Reviva?
After the book Viva, kena revival.
Reviva. Pass. Oh.
How can someone avoid this problem? Maybe they revival.
Oh. Yeah, it depends. It depends on many situations. Mock Viva is all internal, right? All internal. Maybe you know the person, you know the lecturers, you know everyone there. But final Viva there's external. And it depends on how you perform on that day. It depends on how the things goes on the day. Right? Sometimes a student can turn up and he is not answering any single question during final Viva. But his mock Viva was very good. A++. Not even counted in CGS, A++. But when it comes to final Viva, he or she just cannot explain the work. That's why I told you, maybe he or she is panic, they become confused, they are overconfident, until on that day they become disturbed little bit, right? So things goes wrong. So it's very subjective. Any question else?
Prof, is laughing allowed by the candidates during the Viva session?
Laughing, yeah. I'm not sure you'll be laughing or not during the Viva. So you discover. I'll let you discover during the Viva whether you'll be laughing or not. Yeah, of course, the panel will make jokes sometimes to make you relax, So you should laugh or you should smile a little bit. Responsive. That's what I said. So the panel saying some jokes or they make some fun, and then they say, why you do this, and then you keep straight. So it's not laughing, isn't it? So you that's how you engage with them. Don't become too stiff in the session, right? So yeah.
Before the Viva, we can see the examiner.
You cannot. You shouldn't see the examiner. That means the day before. Yeah, you shouldn't see the examiner. It's not allowed. Yeah, it's not allowed. You will see the examiner on the day when the Viva. Yeah, no.
Like something explain.
No, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, that's not allowed. I think it's not ethical because they want somebody who's they don't know you, they come and examine. If they know, then they will say, oh, this person already knows this person, then he's in the Viva. It's not professional, right? So they want someone that from any part of other universities come and invigilate us, examine us, then we pass. So we shouldn't see the examiners personal or explain or anything before. So near to 12. Ada lagi soalan?
How to cope this matter when we are presenting but examiners downstairs is discussing among themselves?
Examiners?
Discussing.
Yeah. You keep on presenting your work. That's okay because I don't know. Maybe they just thinking we already read your work, we know about your work. They just want you to go straight to the point. But sometimes our presentation also, mencabar is get bored as well. So if you don't tackle the audience, they will do their things, right? Sometimes the presenter don't have good eye contact, right? Sometimes the presenter don't have good eye contact, then the panel will start to do something like that. So the best thing is we just carry on with our presentation, finish it, and then see the session Q&A. Okay? Any more question before we end the session? If there is any critical question,
Once we submit our thesis, then speaker said that we need to write our normal during our thesis. Then we find some mistake in the thesis. How we want to
so we submit thesis to whom?
to the examiner maybe.
Examiner? Okay. Oh, after Viva. After Viva? Before. Before Viva. Normally before Viva they won't give you any correction, I think. Right? So the question is, what if the panel asks us to do correction more and more? After we submitted to them, they ask us to do more correction. Normally this doesn't happen. This happened after Viva. So that means you have done the correction, you go see the internal to verify, and they add on some more correction. That's what I understand. That's normal. If they ask you to do some more correction, that means they are very particular about the comments. So you just do it and then finish it. Yeah. It can be, because students are very eager to submit and finish. Right? I said, that's it. I have enough. I'm no longer going to look at this thesis. I want to finish, right? So I want to complete and go back to my country. So we are very, eager. But when we go, then the panel will say, okay, this page is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Okay, just do again. Never mind, take some time, just do it, finish it. Until they say, okay, yes. Then you say, thank you very much. Panel, thank you very much. Bismillah, and go back. Any more question?
We got 3 questions kan or not?
Okay, terpulang pada moderator lah. Ni kita janji 12. 12, right? We finishing, I think.
Okay, last question.
Last question. Okay.
What happens if the student know more about this topic and he answer the question good, but his thesis is not good with
This happens as well. That's not an what we call. This happens as well. The student are good in presenting his or her work. They did a very good experiment, very good data collection, publication, and so on. But they are very poor in thesis writing, because thesis writing is something very what we call challenging process. Thesis writing is something else. Doing study is something else, right? Speaking is something else. So for thesis writing, you have to sit down and do the writing consistently. Some people, they will take longer time. So you just have to improve on technical writing, thesis writing, get into thesis writing. So you just have to get help from your supervisors and go for some courses on writing so that you can do a good thesis writing, basically. But this happened, right? So no worries. This is something that can be overcome. Okay? Yeah. All right. So I would like to say, last but not least, thank you very much for the session, for the invitation by CGS, by the GSA, for the participant, the audience, for the support. And I have given you certain what we call tips, knowledge sharing. Please use it if it is useful for you, and share with others as well. If you find it useful, just use it. I would like to hear comments from you, so the listeners online, and when you provide feedback also, just include there some notes. How was the session, so that I can improve. If you find it useful, just say something. It's good. But I think I should give the appreciation to the committee here, who they struggle, they struggle so much in the technical issues, and they try to find out, they try to find me in the seventh floor in FKE building. They come to see me, and invite me, so discuss with me, so that I can come and share my knowledge. And thank you also for UCI TV, the members, the technical members behind, for recording the session. Their time is also valuable. I really appreciate them, and thank you very much for all the audience. If there is any mistake, please forgive me. And then I pray that all of you become successful, complete your studies well, and do your best, and also pray for me, inshallah. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum, and hope to see you again.
Thank you for the lesson and for sharing. Ensure that all of us gain benefits.